We gotta make sure you're good. You got it. Okay, good evening. We're gonna call this regular meeting and public hearing to order Thursday, May 15th, 2025. It is 7:00, watch work, 7:03 PM. Do the roll call. So I'm Anthony Bolduc, Chairman, Lisa Di Maria. Alan Parody, haven't seen him yet. Tim Puglielli.
I'm recusing. I'm in the audience.
Okay, so you're gonna sit the whole meeting out, or?
Just recuse yourself for a section.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Okay.
We need a quorum.
Yeah. Stan Reinheimer, said he probably wasn't gonna be able to make it, so he's not here. Marion Stay.
Here.
Daniel Smith
Here.
and Jonathan Kastner, nothing. Okay. All right, on to audience of citizens. Citizens may address the commission on items that are not on the agenda. We got some people in the audience. Jerry,
My question is, should this be now or should it be when the actual subject is discussed?
actual subject, unless you got something else you want to discuss.
Sorry?
Actual subject, if it's on the agenda, speak then. If not, like if you want to talk about my house, we could do that now. You're smiling.
You know what I'm going to talk about. When should I talk about it is all I'm asking.
I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay. Also someone online. Okay, hearing nothing. On to approval of minutes. So we got a bunch here. March 15th, 2025, special meeting minutes. Everybody's had a chance to read them. Want to make a motion?
Motion to accept.
Sorry. Start that off. Go ahead.
Motion to accept the March minutes.
What was that?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. All right, March 20th, 2025, regular meeting minutes.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Welcome. Anybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, April 17th, 2025, regular meeting minutes.
I wasn't there for that one.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, I gotta back you up to March 5th. Because did I say special meeting or did I say regular?
You did.
Okay,
You
just
said-
making sure. There's too many special regulars going on here. I just want to make sure we got it right. April 24th, 2025, special meeting minutes.
Move to accept.
Okay,
Second.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. On to the public hearing. Item A, special permit application, accessory structure over 4,000 square feet. Total built area in the gateway zone, 105 River Road, map 66, lot 11. Applicant, Tim and Jean Puglielli. We accepted this last time, so we just need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
For a second,
Second.
all in favor?
When should I
Right
recuse
now.
myself?
Right now.
Okay, I recuse myself.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, is there an applicant here to give us the skinny?
Hello, my name is Jean Puglielli. I live at 105 River Road. I have submitted an application requesting approval to build a garage on our property. I've also submitted a cover letter which explains in detail our issues and safety and accessibility. I'm sorry, I have a cold. Please let me briefly explain our issues. The house was built in 1949 with narrow and steep steps. We have access to the garage through the cellar. In January, I missed a step on the stair, falling and breaking my ulna and dislocating my radius. This is the second time I have fallen since we purchased the house in 2021. Both times EMS had difficulty getting me out of the house due to the configuration of the stairs. When I came home from the hospital after 3 days and having surgery, we discussed at length the best way to make this house work for us. This is our retirement home, and we would like to make it safe and accessible by building a garage. I have the site plans over here.
They're both
They're both.
very efficient.
You try. Okay, this is the proposed garage right here. The location of any trees that we have on our property are over here. One small tree is in the way, but we are relocating it. We're not cutting any trees for this. And we made one change since we presented the gateway. We moved the garage location forward 15 feet, so it is out of the 100-foot buffer. There is nothing in that garage that's in that buffer. It is not the ideal location for us because we have a very steep slope that goes down to the garage. But we moved it to make everybody happy, hopefully. Any questions?
I'll get to the audience in 1 second. Commission, you guys have any quick questions? If not,
One-story garage?
Yes, one-story garage. Mhm.
all right, we'll come back to this, guys. So we're gonna open this up to the audience. You were gonna jump, so go ahead.
Do we,
Name?
Mike Joya, Rosy Brook Road. Do we have a picture other than what's on the?
Of the garage?
On the table, of the garage, of the proposed plan?
Oh, the plans.
Somewhere in here.
We talked, this was discussed.
Go to the most recent site plan.
Was expecting Zoe.
She chimed in on nowhere there, I know.
I know,
She was loud too.
Surprise.
she's hiding.
Oh, no, we're looking for this. We got paper site plans here. We're looking for an actual image.
I think that's in the general, I can tell you. Garage plan. Go back.
This is okay. This works.
This is what you want.
So, it was a few months ago, is this where we're going to do that land swap?
Yep.
With the lots, is that still part of the
I believe
request?
that's already been done.
It's already been done.
Yeah.
No, we separated it out because a lot line adjustment is a zoning permit. And this
Okay.
project is a special exception permit, so it simplified things to have them be two separate permits.
Okay, so what's Tony's displaying now is the current lot line with that after that lot swap, okay. And the garage is 15 feet forward, or more forward than you want it to be to keep it out of the 100-foot zone.
Correct.
The house is a two-story house, story and a half.
It's basically, it is a two-story, but basically a story and a half. The upstairs is basically the attic with bedrooms, but they're,
You gotta be short.
you gotta be short. Yeah, one bedroom especially.
Kids that need to be
I
taller
could
back.
Touch the ceiling and I'm not tall.
And the garage is about the same height as the house.
It's gonna be shorter than the house.
Two-car garage.
Yes.
It's 24 by 26.
Yeah, okay. It's about mine. All right.
Average.
That was my initial question, so
All right, Jerry, you're up.
it's the floor to
Okay.
anybody else.
I'm going to read two things, and these are based on what Gateway has seen, not what I'm seeing here tonight. Okay. So one, Gateway is requesting that the public hearing for 105 River Road be kept open, so the Gateway can provide an evaluation of the new site plan for the proposal after the applicant has presented the new site plan to the Gateway Commission next Thursday, May 22nd. Representatives of Gateway were prepared to make this request to the zoning commission a month ago, but with no quorum, public comment was not available. The applicant presented several inconsistent and incomplete site plans, like 3 different places for the garage, that by their own admission were preliminary to Gateway. So the new site plan addresses these concerns, obviously, or many of them, that were raised, and that this plan that's being presented tonight should be what Gateway sees. So we're requesting that the hearing remain open so that Gateway can see the current plans and make comments as needed. And then this is a more general thing that we believe that this should be a variance because special exceptions traditionally have only applied to marine structures or auxiliaries to marine structures. This is the first time it has ever been used to apply to any other structure that's not marine used, and therefore puts Deep River's interpretation out of compliance with the Gateway standards that Deep River has adopted. And it kind of opens Pandora's box that suddenly you're saying now it doesn't just apply to marine buildings, it's other things like garages and so forth. Again, we're concerned that particularly that area is now becoming incredibly dense. It used to be a pretty open area with a couple of cottages. Now it's become, so we believe there should be a variance and not a special permit. And we would love it to be presented to us at our meeting next week.
So I've got to ask you a question. So it is on the schedule for next week?
Sorry.
It is on the schedule for
We
next?
put it on the schedule. We haven't had a request to put it on the schedule, but we will make sure it's on the schedule.
All right, I'll get to you in a second.
We had requested when they were there before that they come back to us with these changes, and that never happened.
Sorry, we have it. I have it.
You sent it to us, but it never went before the board. It never went, it
You
never,
didn't ask us to come back.
sorry?
You never asked us to come back and present you. You okayed it through us. We have the printout of the minutes. And it doesn't say that we're supposed to come back.
I'll have to look into that.
Who did, I have them
So
here.
anyway, we're requesting that you present, because now you've changed it, that you present the changes to us.
We didn't change the, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
We didn't change
The
the.
garage is moved, it's changed. We may love what you've done.
All right,
Yes.
let's get through the rest of the.
No problem.
My name is Fred Alexander, and I appreciate the opportunity to make a few remarks about this plan. I came here tonight to represent 4 households in the immediate area, the neighborhood, who all feel strike club, who all feel quite strongly that this garage should not be built. This is not personal. We sympathize with Mrs. Puglielli's injuries, but we think that there may be other solutions to this problem that may or may not have been considered. For example, I understand that Mr. Puglielli is a contractor and may be aware that internal improvements to the stairway of the house could be potentially made. Many residential homes now have elevators which could be installed. Need the need for a garage. There are other solutions as well. They have a recessed driveway that could be potentially modified with perhaps modifications of the foundation of the home, just to say that there may be other solutions to this problem rather than building a 625 square foot, 24-foot high garage with or without a breezeway. And we are concerned that the leap to a garage may be premature, and that Mrs. Puglielli's injuries may in part, at any rate, be used as a pretext for the building of this garage. We have 2 major reasons why we think the garage should not be built. For one thing, as most everybody knows, this is an R80 neighborhood, which means that the intent, spirit of R80 zoning is to prevent any more than one house to be built in an 80,000 square foot property. It's a 90,000 square foot property that now has 2 homes located on it. Most of the people who live in that neighborhood chose to live there because of their love of the natural historic beauty, the open space between homes, the privacy that that entails. They've made significant investments in the property, and these investments in turn place a value on the monetary value of the homes. I don't know all of the history, but I do know that unbeknownst to everybody, Fenton Brown's property had a non-conformable half-acre lot on it, and that was used in some way as a pretext for putting a second home on a 90 square foot property in our 80 neighborhood.
So I'm gonna have to stop you there. So are you talking about a separate property from what we're discussing?
We're discussing the properties located at 105 and 107
No, 105 is the only one on the agenda tonight.
River Road.
Yep, I can't let you talk about 107, and it's not part of the application.
Well, let me just say briefly that the property, that these four households, these families feel that the property has already been overbuilt.
Okay.
And we feel that in the process, there have been some violations of gateway policy. For example, when 107 was built,
I can't let you, again, we're strictly talking about 105. We're talking about a garage and a special exception for a garage.
and the wood, well, it's hard to know exactly,
That's all,
Where
that's
the-
all we're talking about.
right, I get it. But what
I
I'm
don't think you do at this point. I don't mean to keep cutting you off, but you have to stick to
I
this.
do, but the property line between 105 and 107 has been altered.
Has nothing to do with the application before us. I know you want to talk about that, but it has nothing to do.
And the woodland that has been cut down and bulldozed is partially on 105, on the property of 105.
Okay,
And in fact, the application for the garage states that no trees will be taken down.
Yep.
Which was, I thought, somewhat amusing because most of the mature trees located on 105 and 107 had already been taken down as a process of the ongoing development. So what we have now are basically three driveways leading into this property. We have a density of buildings, and the neighbors whom I represent feel that that the building is already too dense, and that adding another building will further degrade the natural beauty of the property.
okay.
We too, all of us were under the impression that this garage was going to be built within the 100-foot setback, which was another reason we were objecting to it. We will stand with Gateway in whatever they ultimately decide concerning this property.
Okay.
But I think there are two other procedural issues that need to be discussed related to the building of this garage.
Okay.
And these are procedural issues.
Mhm.
One of them has to do, as has just been stated, has to do with the language related to the setback and buildings therefore.
Yep.
That may or may not be relevant now.
Well, if it's out,
That the
if it's outside the
Pugliellis have
100, it's-
decided to move their garage forward. But the other issue that I have is that, at least from the private citizen's point of view, from the neighbor's point of view, we are concerned about the possibility of a conflict of interest in deciding this issue. And we feel for that reason alone, a variance should be required, and that this issue should be decided by the Board of Appeals.
okay.
I think I've covered all of our points.
Okay.
And I too will wait to see what how Gateway views this change in plan, and will report that back to the other neighbors that I represent.
Okay, if you actually do represent the neighbors, I'm gonna need, it can only take you for you unless you have something saying you represent X, Y, Z. So at
I'd be
the,
happy to send a
Please.
follow-up email with the names of
Yes.
the others whom I have represented here tonight.
you're gonna go again?
Over here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
You're hiding behind
I
me.
just couldn't see, so.
No, no,
Um,
go ahead.
my name is John Cunningham. I'm a resident, live at 78 River Road. I'm not, I may share some of those concerns, but I'm not being represented
Mhm.
by the previous speaker here specifically tonight.
Yep.
And just for, I met Tim, nice guy, and I appreciate the work of the commission. And know that some of these issues are tricky, but I also, just for full transparency, I'm the newly appointed alternate on the Gateway Commission, so that if Jerry can't be there, I stand in. So I just wanted to be transparent. I'm also on the Deep River Land Trust. But that's not neither here nor there. So I'm mainly here to listen and learn, because I'm new to this. I may have a couple questions, but I'll wait until, is the presentation done, or are you guys doing more? Okay.
No.
So I did have one question. I tried to, I know this area very well. I knew the original owner, Mr. Lau. As a kid, I worked for him. Mr. Brown, I used to deliver wood down that driveway, so I know it is steep. But one thing I didn't see, I don't see it here unless I'm blind, and I may be. There's actually a substantial running water brook that's right on the border between
It's on that side.
your property.
Yeah.
It is, I know, but I believe you're supposed to show all waterways on a site plan. Because I went through this process myself.
That's not in any of, near the garage, it's on that others.
Is it?
Okay, but I didn't know if inland inland wetlands had looked at this, if they're going to look at it.
They will look at this.
And it's not obvious that it's there. I know it may not be on your
Yeah,
property,
it's not.
but I think you still are supposed to include any. I think I read that it should be included in a site plan or considered.
Yes.
Okay, so
You're correct.
that's my point.
And you're saying this is on the west side of the property? Left,
Yeah.
On
left
the
side?
west side.
Okay.
It's past our boundary.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think there's still regulation that involves
Yeah.
setback from it has to be deemed a wetlands, but that's not up
I
to me.
guess
That's up to.
it's been a
inland.
little-
It's not title. It's not title, so it's not DEP. It is a direct tributary to the Connecticut River. Anyhow, so that's just something I wondered about. And otherwise, so just so I understand, but I will, I'll be going to the Gateway meeting next Thursday, but so you have a new plan where the garage is
It's
completely
right here.
toward the street
It is up away from,
outside of the 100-foot.
correct.
Okay.
It's up there right now.
And as far as the 4,000 square foot.
Yep. That's why they're still here for a special exception.
That's based on habitable space, right? Or is that still an issue? Is that still an issue that's up in the air here?
So we don't, so eventually we'll get to definitions.
There's two different issues, 100-foot, so.
Yeah, the 100-foot is it on the plan that's presented, they're outside the 100, so that's no longer an
Which
issue.
is now.
Yep.
This way.
The way the regulations read at the moment, we're considering this over 4,000 square feet, which triggers gateway review.
Okay.
So that's why it's going before gateway. We do want to talk about that. I know Gateway wanted to talk about floor area as a definition, and we've never had that discussion. So,
In the previous dollars.
yeah, but it's come up before and we're like, yeah, we're going to write a regulation and we just haven't gotten there yet. So that's later on, we're going to talk about that. too.
Okay. Alrighty then. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. We also have a Karen online. I don't know if you're interested in this or participating.
Karen is my wife.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
She is listening.
Just
for
listening, okay.
informational purposes.
Mike, you had,
So we're gonna build a separate garage. Is there a garage currently attached to the house?
It's in the basement, and that's where I fell. The stairs are not.
So you have to
compliant.
access the current.
Correct, we have to go down, and that is the part of our problem right now.
Okay, and then I guess this is for Tony. This is a special permit application and it's a special permit because of,
if it's over 4,000 square feet of floor area, it triggers a special exception and review by
The
Gateway.
total built area on the property, not the garage itself, just for clarity.
Yeah, everything.
So they moved, the property line was, the lot line was moved.
Yep.
So that's no longer an issue.
Right.
It's
It's just now.
not in the 100-foot longer issue. There's no breezeway, which was one of the possible things. So that's not, so as I understand, apart from the square footage, that's the only thing we got. Everything else
Mhm.
is in compliance to our zoning
So far.
so far. So far.
The, okay. All right, so.
Answer my question. Thank you, Tom. I was,
Okay.
yeah, appreciate it.
No,
I was trying to understand the special permit, what's triggered the special permit.
Yes, it's floor area, even though it's a convoluted definition. It's total on the site.
Okay.
So it's not a 4,000 square foot
No.
garage.
No, so it's the total, what would be the total?
Yes,
If this,
all floors.
if we built the
all- yeah.
garage, how much this would be? It'd be 4,000 square feet, and it's not the size of the lot, it's just the area of where the property is located.
Correct. I thought there was a.
I had a question in response to, how many driveways? There's gonna be one driveway, because only one driveway is on this picture.
There's, I can't speak.
No, I'm sorry.
You
There,
can
I-
speak, you just can't be
no.
part of this.
No, no, you-
Oh, yeah.
we have one driveway now. There would be a second driveway for this garage because the other driveway goes underneath till we can get it underneath the house.
And that- So I guess that kind of runs right along that,
Yes,
that runs like right here.
yes. The garage is right under here.
I just wanted to quickly let you all know that I must not have scanned the document, but I checked my emails to be sure because I thought it had been reviewed, but the plan was reviewed already by inland wetlands, by the inland wetlands agent. Just so just because the question was raised.
I was gonna ask you if Bruce had checked on it. It doesn't show.
Yeah,
that
he
on
already
this.
he looked at it and signed off before it hit my desk.
Application is saying checked off.
Yes,
I saw the application where there wasn't. A while ago. So currently it's been checked off. We
Yes.
have
so yeah, Bruce is our wetlands
I
enforcement.
talked to him directly.
Okay,
And this was, right at the, a month ago.
okay,
And he said he didn't even know. He didn't know if he had, but there wasn't on the actual application. At that time, it wasn't checked off.
okay.
So maybe it's been checked off since. But would that come to the gateway with the materials?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm mixing up my.
You're,
I can't see.
no worries, no worries. Okay. All right, anybody else from the commission? Questions, comments? If not, I'm gonna pose a question. Go, Mike?
I was gonna say, what's the plan for we built a new garage, what's the plan for the current garage? Or the old, which would be turned the old garage?
It's just.
Continue for use or?
No, not for cars. It'd just be storage.
So you're gonna keep the original driveway, right?
Yeah, there's too many walls over there.
I'm just gonna try and get up street view so you can see it.
You just see the
No,
entrance.
you just see trees.
Well, I mean, the drive on, like how far down that goes.
Oh, it's steep.
Yeah.
It's really, Mr. Cunningham knows how steep my driveway is, yes.
That's what I was just about to do.
Matter of fact, we hit the wall.
For now.
For now.
Feel like we'll move that up. Would you said you had a question coming over here.
I had questions, did I?
Said you did.
Yeah. Oh, let me just get the street views and then we'll move on.
Nice.
What are we, 104, 105? 105.
Okay.
Only 105.
I just have one more thing to add in this.
Mhm.
Is the houses down the street from us also have had additions put onto their houses
Right next to it.
on our side of the street. 97 River Road, which is right next door to me, had a 616 square foot addition approved within 30 feet of the wetlands. 125 has 1,138 square foot addition, which was approved in 2000 with a garage, bedroom, and a bonus room 18 feet from the road. And then 155 just had a deck, an addition put underneath their foundation that was within the 100-foot buffer.
Let me just say in response to that, however, that these are homes that conform to the R80 zoning regulations. For these properties we're discussing at 105 and your permission 107 do not control it anyway. Which is why Gateway and many of the neighbors feel that the building is very dense for the zoning regulation for the neighborhood. So, not to say that variances can't be given, but it requires context, textual information.
So, a couple of things. To add a request to continue this public hearing so that they can review this by Gateway. You can say no, risk an appeal and a bunch of other things. So I'm asking you if you're going to accept the Gateway thing. Okay,
Well, we were approved by them already. That's why I don't understand.
right, but we've changed the site plan. And the other thing I would like you to do is, because I don't see it on your map, I don't see the total lot area. So if you could state that, Tim, I can't let you. I know it's tough.
Request for that.
That's not gonna get you. I want to go through a bunch of this.
Is the public hearing still open?
It is. Let me get through this and then I'll get back to you.
This is just the
Yep.
coverage. That's what you wanted, the total lot area.
Okay, and then you don't have to answer that right away because it sounds like a few more questions to our,
Okay. Hello.
dig that up. I'll get to you 1 second. At least I had a question.
Just wanted to know.
Yep.
That's over 40,000 square feet. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
It's not a question, it's for after we close the public hearing and discuss.
If we close the public hearing.
All right, well then I better put it out now then.
Yep.
I think that the site plan needs more information.
Okay.
I think it should show all existing structures, walkways, driveways, everything existing on the lot should be on there for us to be able to see. We don't know what zone it's in because it's not on the site plan. Need the zone. All the setbacks are not on here. We don't know what the setbacks are except that one side.
Oh, they're here.
Because we don't know what zone it is. Is there gonna be a silt fence? That should be on the plan. Square footage of the lot's already been asked. And then wetland lines or waterways should be on there. So we need to know. What we typically see sometimes is a zoning data table. So it shows the zone, what is required in the zone for all the Vulcan area requirements, what's required, what's existing, and what's proposed. And that way we have a in one spot. I know you have the just down here and then it's kind of scattered a little bit. You can put it all into one zoning data table. That would make it easy for everybody. Okay, thank you.
I was gonna piggyback on that too, because I did hear that there was questions about an additional. I was confused about, there's another living space or there's another.
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, there's no other living space.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I
Thank
think it's being addressed. I was looking at the site plan and as a citizen, I've been through this process and I remember there was more
Yes.
required, basically.
Yep.
And I was at the Gateway meeting and it seems to be a misunderstanding about it being approved because that certainly wasn't what Jerry and I
Oh, that's for the minutes.
took away. We spent a long time talking about it. And it was not approved. And the basic reason was, well, some things were discrepant, but others were that these very questions, that the site plan was not complete, did not contain the information that I think is normally expected. Even the date of the survey, I don't think is on there. When I was just looking, so I, as a citizen, support the request to keep it open, but also as a Gateway alternate.
Okay, and I want to verify something. Zoe, I'm going to pick on you for a second. So do we have a copy of the Gateway approval? Because I'm assuming it states the date of the map that was approved. And if there is a revision,
Let me check. I think the only letters because I did look at the minutes and the minutes said that they were gonna send us 2 letters, but I don't think they did. I think they only sent us one. That pertained to the discrepancy about the interpretation of the regulation. But let me double check and make sure that I'm not missing something. So I'll check right now.
Okay.
I have the minutes if you want to.
I do, I got the skill.
I know, that's fine.
Okay.
Keep up.
I'll read it out loud. Just give me 1 second. Pervious, plant, trees. Confusing. So now that I'll attempt to read this. So a motion was made by Mr. D. Regard. I've been on the gateway or on the cog with him too, and he's gonna kill me for butchering his name. That the Connecticut River Gateway Commission write a letter stating the proposed design is inconsistent with the gateway standards. The Deep River zoning regulation is inconsistent, and that the Connecticut River Gateway Commission would like the Deep River zoning regulations to be updated to agree with the gateway standards. Commissioners discussed sending a letter to the Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission and ZEO requesting a review of the gateway standards and to update Deep River regulations to correctly reflect the gateway standards. A second letter will be sent to Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission regarding the application. A motion was made by Mr. D. Brigard, seconded by W. Webb, that the Connecticut River Gateway Commission write a letter regarding the application stating the proposed design is inconsistent with the gateway standards, and that the Connecticut River Gateway Commission asked that in the context of a special permit, that the proposed patio be pervious, dark sky compliant lighting be maintained, and that there be minimal cutting of trees and shrubs. So that passed unanimously 10-0. So then the reason I find this is confusing is because they don't refer to a dated plan. However, well, so they, go ahead.
So we received one letter that basically was for the lot line revision, and that was a finding that it does not, it does not violate any standards for the Gateway Commission. And then the second letter that we received was specific to what you just read about, which is that the zoning regulations themselves do not properly reflect the gateway regulations.
Okay. So
But there's no approval of a site plan. Because this, that was the point, the site plan was confusing. I was there. And the, and it's still incomplete, that's what you're, so that's, that doesn't mean we can't, no, we're not approved, there's no really have information, and the other thing can relate to the approval of site plan. If they want it. So the approval, suggestions are just general suggestions. Should things go forward, but they.
right, this is, the motion is to write a letter. I don't see,
Right, there's no approval.
right, that's what I,
We haven't voted to approve.
but did you, I don't even see,
I don't know how you got that impression, maybe because of the lot line letter, which was approved. I'm not sure, but there's some misunderstanding here.
there's 3 different drawings.
Because nobody ever asked us to come back. They just said, oh, if you're gonna do the patio, it has to be pervious. They asked if we were gonna put shrubs in, and then the lighting on the
Alright, well,
garage.
I'm recognizing there's some confusion,
Yeah, there
some
was.
misunderstanding, but I think we're at the point now where we still, everybody needs a real clear site plan, up to date. So all the requirement.
Variance.
Are you saying that even though they said it does not keep it with gateway standards, that we explicitly approve
We need
this?
that, we need that.
Hold on one second. You guys are talking at the same time. Go ahead.
So it seems to me clear, we need to get that and to hold the public hearing open until that can be considered in its updated, complete form.
Okay. Jerry, what were you saying? I'm sorry.
So are you saying that even though we said it's not consistent with gateway standards, that we explicitly approve this?
Well, I don't understand after the fact, they said that nobody asked us to come back, and then you were telling us about patios and shrubbery and what lights you wanted. Somebody asked me if we're putting stone on it. If that wasn't, I thought that was approved.
So
Some discussions took place.
But nobody,
Site.
no, I understand what you're
And
saying,
so I
but
can see why you were you were
I
focusing
assumed
on
it was,
that, and,
right, and that nobody asked us to come back.
well, that may be a glitch in
a month ago, Bill Webb came here to the last meeting to specifically request that the public hearing be delayed until we were able to review the plans, the new plans. There was not a quorum there, so we're not allowed to do that. So this is the first time that we were coming back again, requesting that the public hearing be kept open so that we can review the current plans. Because as we stated, I think you'll find them in a minute, the inconsistency with the plans that we saw. Now, it would be wonderful if you came and presented this, and if we found no problems with it, that you've answered all of our issues, and we'd all go have some cake together. But the Gateway deserves to see the current site plan as configured now.
All right. So I'm not supposed to lead you guys, but my opinion is we have minutes that we all haven't read yet. We have a site plan here that we know needs some more stuff, and then a request gateway, which they're actually not an environmental intervener, and they're not part of the application, so you don't actually have to do that, but that is really, I would recommend against that.
So you're saying that we could go forward because
You
we
could.
do this as a partnership,
Yep.
right? And then what,
And
whether or not we approve or not approve, then it's still, they still have to review it separately at their meeting,
Yep.
right?
and also
That's what you're saying, okay.
Also, anything that Lisa had asked for, we can't actually accept that after you close the public hearing. So, information.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
so,
And we can't comment.
Right.
Which is also kind of problematical.
yes, so I would recommend that you continue the public hearing. That's just me. But with the committee,
Does
so
anybody else have anything else to say, or can we make a motion?
you can move to continue, and the public hearing is open, so we'll be able to discuss this again at the next meeting.
I make a motion to continue the hearing to the next meeting.
Need a second? All right, any more discussion on that? Okay, we all have to vote, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, all right, on to. Meeting is continued to, so the public hearing will continue at the next planning. Okay, on to old business. Item A.
Oh,
Oh,
is Tim coming back? in?
he's coming back. Yeah. He's not getting off that easy.
Do you want me to take my-
You weren't allowed to leave for dinner, right? You gotta come back.
You mind if I, yeah, you mind if I steal that one copy?
No, you can do that.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'll make a copy and give it to Tim before he leaves.
I got it, I do.
Okay. Okay,
Well, nice to meet you, Dave. See you next month.
okay.
When it starts, it's.
On to, I don't know where the hell we're at. On to item B, text amendment for old business, because we're skipping A. Text amendment for food trucks.
Yeah,
So there's
think
a
we're-
draft in the OneDrive. I basically took the Clinton regs and
No, one sec, what's it? I know, Jerry. I'm sorry, I was gonna say, if you don't mind, it's the hallway, please. Go ahead, Zoe, sorry.
oh no, I took the Clinton regs and put them, I numbered it so that it would be what it would be if we were to put them into our regs, and I think I changed all the language that was relevant. I'll make myself visible again. Here I am. But I also did a draft of the use table for what would be added to the zones that were discussed at the last meeting. But I kind of took a guess when it came to the type of permit. So I do think that that should be something that you all discussed today about what kind of permit makes sense and if it would be the same or different. So yeah.
Okay. Those industrial.
So everyone reviewed these last month. Yeah, and this
Yeah.
has been boiled down.
Yep.
Yeah, so I tried to make it look like, what it would look like in our regulations, but there's still, today if you, with any updates, if you all decide that you want to move forward with it, then the next step would still be to notice it and do a public hearing before adopting. But this is a cleaner version of some of the examples and what was discussed at the last meeting.
That was my assumption. But the other assumption I had is the seasonal outdoor use permits, because I don't want to repeat the discussion you guys had last month. But that means that a food vendor, they would get the permit, but then they'd have it. It isn't that every time somebody calls a food truck,
Right.
we have to, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think scroll down actually, because it has you should look at how it's defined and make sure that it all makes sense. Because,
Well, that's why I'm asking, because
Yeah. So everyone should take a look, honestly, and just.
Well, my gut is, I mean, you've gone through the process of putting this into our format. My thought was, let's schedule the public hearing for this, because we can read it between now and next month. And we can have our comments. Hopefully the public can get their comments, if there are any. Okay. Mike's in on this, so. If that's all right with you guys. Not to give you a bunch of homework.
Yeah, but I have a question first, just so we could update it for our public hearing. Didn't we discuss didn't we discuss the preservation and recreation districts as being added also? Because doesn't that encompass the parks,
You're right.
landing,
Yep.
Oh, yeah. No, you probably did. I guess I didn't note that when I was taking notes.
No, that's okay. I'm just trying to refresh my memory, and I thought that would be a good place for them to also
Bless you.
be. Bless you.
Yeah, I believe you're right, because we were talking about, there was a couple like, I just drew a blank. Big stone house there, Historical Society. Yeah, that one.
Well, and maybe it would also be good to think about, especially for not the stationary vendors, but for the event vending
Yeah.
and the seasonal outdoor use, if it makes sense in any other zones for commercial purposes. Because I think stationary vendors are basically like, it's if you have a brick and mortar and then choose to have or not stationary vendor, sorry, seasonal outdoor use. If you have a brick and mortar and then choose during, a limited season to also have an additional mobile element,
Right.
I could imagine that applying to potentially people that are in a commercial, other, village.
Well, there-
zone. So I don't know, but
Yeah, I say, let's add it preemptively, and then we can always tweak it at the meeting. Right? I mean,
Absolutely, yeah.
then we can go, Alan could tell us he didn't like it, and some of us will cave, and
If it's not there, we won't look at it. So if you put it in there, Zoe will look at it.
he's gonna get me now, because I said his name on tape. Well, you know what, that's for not showing up. So.
okay. Okay, so I'll take note of, sorry, I'm gonna just take note on my phone because it's faster right now.
Mhm.
So adding in the preservation and recreation district.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna read through the definitions for the event and the seasonal outdoor use again and just make note of if it's worth having a discussion about if that applies to some of the other zone areas. It may not, but I just wanted to at least raise it as a discussion point.
It sounded like Marion had it.
It just,
a really minor comment under 7B 39.3. Under 1B, you just need to add a T where it says, so they do not obscure emergency accesses. It's just little thing.
Good catch, man.
And, at some point, I guess we'll discuss whether June to September is okay at the time. All right, well, that's. fine.
Yeah, I would also look at, if all of the distances that are named are the same. Oh, and there wasn't one other thing that I wanted to raise. I think I highlighted it. If you scroll in some direction or another, I think it was for this. Scroll down, yeah. Yeah, so I also I highlighted a few things that I wanted to make sure that were just considered before adoption, which is making sure that everyone is good with the hours of operations that are posted or given as limited, because this is from obviously another town's regs. And then if you scroll down again,
Swear to God, they turn the heat on in here.
scroll more. Sorry, there's going to be another highlighted area. Oh wait, no, it's right there. Oh yeah, so a copy of the approved Deep River Police Department application for solicitors and vendors. So Clinton must have this. I highlighted it because I wasn't sure if this was something that Deep River actually had. Do the solicitors, like vendors and hawkers currently go through a police department?
No, they go through the
Permit?
selectman's office.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
they
what I thought. I highlighted it because I was like, I don't think that's the order of operations here, but I wasn't sure if I just wasn't aware of something.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Take it out or change it to selectmen's.
Well, that's what I mean, change it to the selectmen, whatever, keep it consistent with the hawkers and peddlers,
yeah,
but
Okay.
not police.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good to have folks read through it just to flag some of those details and make sure, because those were the two that I definitely wanted to just not have adopted without clarity.
well, you get two more. You have, this one that I can't read because of the red and the yellow.
Oh, hours of operation.
Oh, hours, okay, hours of operation, and then
Yeah,
one last one.
Well,
Go back.
again, I don't want to repeat whatever the work you did already, but, so for existing, I'll pick on Rusty Rail. They have a seasonal outdoor dining space. Would that applies to that, correct?
Valid point.
So that would apply to Red House there.
Right, right, the Red House has it.
Red House closes at 9, so they would actually fit within this, but the Rusty Rail does not.
Yeah.
They're
Valid point.
open late.
Yeah, that one, the seasonal outdoor use was the one that really kind of stuck out to me as it doesn't even really actually work, as it's not really even a
And-
truck
And
anymore.
the other place where I would like to see some outdoor food trucks is at, our new district that's forming where they have,
Yes.
entertainment.
Yep.
And that'd be great, but because right now, if you get out, you have to go to Old Saybrook to get food,
Mhm.
or maybe Middletown, or I guess Old Saybrook's closer.
Yeah.
Because no place in Deep River closes earlier.
Right.
Possibly Rusty Rail maybe. But,
Yeah.
But that would be past 11 o'clock as well. And I mean, I never get out, but I'm assuming past 9 during the week.
All right, well, I mean, that's a valid discussion to have, I think, because you're right, how does that affect? Right, I mean, the Red House does close at 9, but how does that affect the Red House?
Yeah,
How does that
we're talking
affect,
future, it's like there's people that are doing stuff now,
Yeah.
so.
how does, our unrepresentative here, usually words it, discretion, if it's under discretion? All right, and there was one more that was highlighted.
Well, that there.
Oh, they do, they
Yeah.
have the tables right there, but
I'm hoping to check that out in a little while.
Yeah,
A copy of the approval, Deeper Police Department, yeah, same thing.
That's just
this
the
goes-
same thing. I just highlighted it to make sure it didn't.
Okay. Yeah, if we can put that on for a public hearing for
Yeah.
next month, and everybody has homework now. Cool. Do we, ever make somebody gonna make a motion? Somebody's gonna second?
motion to put it to public hearing next month.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Like,
All right,
Aye. Okay, On to C. Time schedule. I can't stand that the close is way over here and then the other thing's over here.
So that's that, and that one I also formatted for the ordinance. But the thing that I wanted to, the part that I highlighted was, so basically last time we discussed kind of getting rid of that section that listed a bunch of examples of zoning violations because it didn't cover the full gamut and it's
We
kind of
didn't like that.
implicit. But because of that, this language needs to be changed, and so I wanted to just pose, is there just does it, if it's going to be gradual, where it starts at 50, goes to 100, then it's 150, is it just, or I don't know. I just wanted to highlight it so that people could discuss what makes sense before basically this would have to go to the Board of Selectmen, so, and then town meeting. But this language will have to be changed because right now it references a section.
Where it says this section, that's the table it's referencing. It isn't there.
Not for fine, no fine me posting.
Yeah, it's referencing something that doesn't exist because it was from a different a different town's regulation.
All right, so we'll come up with a solution for that. Is that the only highlighted version or part of this?
Yes. That is the only thing, although we should review it one more time just to make sure that all the process is correct. I think I filled in for, that it's CEO, selectmen. And I think everything should be fine, but it should still get one more.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say,
Review,
I'd like to have a little more. Okay. All right, so we're gonna hunt one more time on this, if that's okay with you guys?
Let's get it buttoned up.
You're gonna say something, Zoe?
No, I was gonna say the biggest thing was just deciding how to define the fine schedule itself, since we removed the thing that listed like the bullet list of zoning violations, just because I do think just that language needs to be changed, and I do think it's worth contemplating, is it how that breakdown works or
Right.
what have you, so.
Okay.
But if we were to punt, as you say, I mean, at some point we solve that.
Yes, but so I haven't read it and that's.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
over time to read the whole thing in its
Fair,
complete
fair.
context this time around. And then put it on next month and we'll say yay or nay.
Get a motion for that?
No, the bunt, no.
Okay.
What Nancy left.
No, she'd do, it's fine.
Okay. So she was throwing them out.
She's recording. I think she was, actually. I just didn't want to say that.
Okay. All right, on to item D, continued discussion of the preservation recreation district. Now Zoe asked if we should leave this on here and I said yes. And my thought is, now that I've been dealing with this in my head, we should probably wait until after the POCD is adopted and then tackle this. Because there's a lot of stuff in there that talks about municipal buildings and blah, 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 blah. And so maybe we wait till that's published and then go, hey, let's take a look, because we actually have, going forward, we'll be looking at our zoning regulations, and this is part of the zoning regulations. So I think it should stay something we discuss, but I don't know if we should do it right at the moment. Does that make sense?
Sure,
I think
because
we should wait
we've got to deal with the plan of conservation.
Yeah.
Probably in June and July.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so.
So might as well keep this in our minds, but
Yeah,
punt until after the POCD is done.
punt. Yeah,
A lot of punting going on here.
that's a sport term.
Yes. Okay, new business, special permit application, Deep River Farms, commercial agriculture and activities, agritourism at 362 West Main Street, map 42, lot 4, applicant Jim Neve. Sorry. Anyone here to discuss that, or?
It's just a receipt of the application, so I don't think.
Okay, I didn't know if it was.
So
we
it's
need
just to
to-
receive it and, if you want to,
Is that a public hearing?
the public hearing, yeah.
Motion to put the public hearing?
Yep.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
We opposed? Awesome. Okay. Man, look at us go. There was something we were supposed to put on new business that you and I discussed. I wrote it down, but not on this piece of paper.
I'm gonna open up your messages to me because,
Yeah. It was important at the time.
oh no, you mentioned it. It was the habitable floor,
Oh, yeah, floor area, that's right.
the floor area.
So I do actually want to, so we do not have a definition of floor area, right, now that we're on the business. And everything in the gateway regs says floor area when it deals with the 4,000 square feet. So the reason I asked Jerry to stay was so Jerry could get us some research on what floor area is in all the other towns that Gateway does.
So our tax assessor has a definition.
Yep, but that's not a zoning definition.
So I'm putting that there. 'Cause shouldn't our zoning definition
Well,
not necessarily match, but
so
in some way align with the tax assessor
I mean, it
definition?
would be ideal because we use the assessor card to
Okay.
determine.
I mean, I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
not right. My neighbor's house is an exact copy of mine.
Yeah.
And if you look at them, they're both different.
the reason this is a pet peeve of mine is because floor area in Madison includes your garages and detached accessory structures, and includes all this stuff, but in Guilford, none of that stuff counts.
Yeah, and
So-
I do think, so we don't have to follow, because actually the assessor card doesn't use like floor area as a
Mhm.
blanket term, like there's living area and then gross
Yes.
area. So I
Uh-huh.
don't, it doesn't need to align, it just has to say like which one, are we looking at living area versus gross area?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
For the record, we use living area for my house.
Well, that's what most people do, but I
And
just
that's,
wanna,
that's what I default to,
right,
based
but
on
we don't,
reviews in other towns too, but it would be nice for it to be explicitly somewhere, this is the
Yes.
thing.
Because I think that's important, but I say that because I'm not sure how Gateway looks.
well,
at it.
that's why I asked Jerry to stay.
Yeah.
What I need to do is, so we have a rules committee that sets policy and reviews policy. Actually, we just met an hour ago about the power lines.
I should have sent you a message.
But we have a monthly meeting Thursday. I'll bring this up. And we should get our rules committee on it, because I agree, we often come up to a circumstance where we see a house that we thought should have come before us because of its square footage.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it isn't. We say, how in the hell did that house get built?
Yes,
And it never came before us. And I think some of it has to do with the way you measure square footage. And I get that.
Yeah.
And just so that you guys know, a lot of times, it's not our goal that it becomes to us so we can stop it. It's so that we have some leverage.
Yeah.
We can say, okay, if you're gonna do this here, please make sure your lighting is compliant, that you're not cutting down too many trees, that you blah, 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 it's non-reflective glass. It gives us some leverage to at least mitigate somebody, but having a mutually understood
Yeah.
floor coverage will cut away people saying, wait a second, did they cut something out of that? Because that house is bigger than we
Well,
think.
I had assumed that the 4,000 square foot was living. That's why I'm like, or maybe it's not.
Okay, let's find it. Let's together.
Yeah, let's-
find
You know,
it.
because that's part of what we have adopted,
yes,
right? So that's,
right.
Well, honestly, it was living, but then we added the garage to bring it over 4,000, and the garage is not, I'm not trying to get out of mine, I'm just
Yeah, yeah,
saying.
But that's the
that-
Madison Guilford thing.
Yeah,
Some towns
yeah,
count it, some towns don't. So
So
let's-
is the garage in or out?
Yeah, let's figure that. It's too late for.
Yeah.
There's a-
Your wife's application.
my neighbor has the same house. Their mudroom
Yeah.
is not living and mine is.
Yes,
Same mudroom.
shouldn't have heated it. Anyway,
Let me
I did-
ask you a
That's why I
question.
keep my thoughts.
I'm just using yours, not just
Yeah,
as
that's
because you mentioned it. So you have a house that's a certain square footage, right? And because it's under whatever the thing is, at 3,000, whatever it is, it doesn't come before us.
Yeah.
So now you add a garage and it bulks up the square footage. Why would you want to bulk up the square footage? Because if it goes over a certain threshold, then it does come to us.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure why would that would be an advantage to anybody.
right, it's not an advantage, I mean, well,
We just want the nomenclature. I know.
And the floor.
Yeah, I obviously believe this, these are, the good news about all of this is we're working together.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes,
and
that's a change.
the other thing you have to worry about too is if you put a garage on, you say it's attached garage, and then 2 years from now, it's just doors and a sheet rock on the inside. with
Right.
Party room.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys, if you would get us what you normally
Yeah.
do, and we'll review too.
And we all know that the 35-foot height limit is odd because you can build a 2-story garage, which then becomes a separate residence.
Yep.
and get it passed under, it's a garage that has a second floor, but you know it's gonna become a residence up there at some point.
So-
So those are all things, but yes, I agree, let's figure out the floor thing, so that we're all talking about the same stuff. And I agree, I don't always know, even in our house, right? Are you counting just livable space?
Yeah.
In some houses, they count only finished space, you know, so we should have an agreeable definition. I agree. That's great. Thank you for.
Thanks for hanging around.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, I'll see you guys next time around.
I have a question for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so fast.
What was the intent of the 4,000 square feet that is in your regulations? Why that number?
First of all, I didn't set that number.
Not you. Why is? it
So,
why
okay, so I
The
believe.
intent, not
Please
your
don't, please
intent.
don't quote me on this, but my understanding is that the state legislature created Gateway in the 1970s. At the time, when along the river, specifically along Essex, people were suddenly building McMansions where there used to be these pleasant river cottages. And we were tasked specifically to protect the traditional river scene. I know that sounds ambiguous, but we're trying to keep the river from being just turned into another one of these rivers that's just wall to wall McMansions. And so I probably imagine that we said, if you're going to build a house over a certain size, it needs to come before us so that we can make our comments. We know, and I know you guys know, we have zero teeth. Our only teeth is you guys. So when it comes to us, we can send a letter to you and say, this does not meet Gateway standards, and then you can pass it. Now, sometimes that hurts us because we're volunteers and we work very hard. But in the end, we can't say no. We can just say this doesn't meet our standards. And then it's up to you guys to decide those things. But as far as the number, I assume it's just because the hope to cut down on and there's this mass bulk image, right? The more houses you put along the river, even smaller ones, starts to block the river from the road. Because
I can also add to that because I was zoning enforcement officer in Essex when this came first. And I can tell you that the square footage was one of the big bugaboos, why Essex did not want to
Right.
adopt it. Because it, at that point, counted basements, attics, and all the floors, whether they were livable, plus garages.
Oh, so that's the answer to that.
So what
It's
does it
additional
count
tax.
now? What is the definition now? Because the way I read it, if you have 4,000 square feet of structure on your property, whether it's a barn or it's a shed, you have to go to Gateway. 4,000,
Well, so our regulation says floor area, and we have no definition of floor area. The closest we can get, so let me just get to the
so
section.
Jerry, when you get applications and you guys are looking at something, let's just say something came in and it was a 3,000 square foot house, but they had a shed and they had a little garage and that's what put it over the 4. Would you guys then say, well, wait a minute, no, your house is not over 4, so we don't need to see it? Or would you be looking at the shed and the garage that is already there?
I'll be honest, I can't answer that specific question.
Okay, so that's what we have to
But we
nail
certainly
down.
talk about this stuff.
You need clarity around this for this reason. right?
Absolutely.
They built 2 houses right across the street from me. I was there when, right? And there was, I'll use proper language. There were so many arguments and fights between the 2 people building and the people you just heard from over, you need a special permit, you don't need a special permit, you need to include the deck in the square footage, you don't need to include the deck.
Well,
And
This came, I mean, even before that happened, this has always been in contention, because again, it says in the bold, 4,000 square feet of total floor
The
area.
total floor.
Right. But if you go back to
These are great
definitions,
questions, and I mean, your house is a great example, is when you take a house that's a certain size and you add a garage, now does that house become, I don't know if it means that they're connected or not, but this is something we definitely
Yeah.
all need to look at.
They're not.
and for the record, I followed all the processes properly to get here, and that's why. I'm going for a special permit.
careful.
Can't talk.
Yeah, you can't talk about that.
All right, I take that back.
All right, I'll see you guys next time around.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
for having me here.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good to see you, Jerry.
It's good knowledge that the owner of that property followed the process.
So floor area,
Right.
floor area not on the list. So anyway, I'm glad that's getting worked on. Okay,
Okay, Tony,
yes,
it says in 14.4.4 where you were, the
Yep.
4,000 thing.
Yep.
It says the permit, special permits required for all construction, reconstruction, enlargement, or structural alterations of principal and accessory residential structures,
Hmm.
which results in one or more buildings or structures having, so it's not for just an accessory structure. It says
Is that,
residential structure. So is it residential habitable or residential,
right?
not a commercial property?
Well, all right, but is a deck part of that? Is a patio part of that? Is a shed part of that? Is your basement
Well,
part of
it's-
that?
the assessor says the deck would be part of
So
it.
I think that's
But it's not
referring,
living
And your dock.
But it's not, yeah, but it's not living
I think this
space.
is referring to
Why they got my
residential
tax rate?
properties, not residential
accessory
property structures, not
Patio.
habitable
Yeah.
structures, which results in one or more buildings or structures having buildings or structures. So what's the definition of a structure?
So let's, like I said,
Okay.
this is where we run it. We've run into this a million times now. Let's get to the bottom of this finally.
Okay.
All right.
So there was definition of floor plan,
Floor area.
floor area.
Yeah.
Yeah. And definition of structure.
Structure.
Slash building, because it's probably the same.
Yeah, I think we actually have building.
Do we need a definition of residential structure? Lisa,
No, residential is residential use.
and not commercial.
So,
Yeah, I
So if it's a
believe-
barn or,
yeah, it's residential structure.
Okay.
If it's on a residential property.
okay,
Yes.
so we don't need that.
Building, any structure having a roof supported by columns or by walls intended for shelter, housing, or enclosure of persons, animals, or
Cattle,
chattel.
yes.
Okay, so that doesn't include, it doesn't include cars. It doesn't say
Yeah,
chattel's a car.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what you call, I think
Okay.
that's what the definition is.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Is that the modern, would it be? It was, it used to be animal.
Cattle is livestock. I think.
Yeah.
I
Livestock.
thought,
Yeah. All right, so,
whatever.
but again, if we're gonna look at this, let's look at what's a structure too. Right, because that doesn't include decks or a dock. Unless that's considered, unless that's also considered chattel.
A cattle
Anyway.
is livestock.
No, it's
That's what I
like when you
thought.
had horses for your wagon. That's why we call it.
That's, yeah, that's what I thought, but
And we
okay.
tax horses too. I don't know if that's.
But again, is a building floor, does a building cover floor area? So anyway, we get some work to do there.
Is structure defined?
I appreciate any and all
Well, we could put
clear
building slash
definitions.
structure. If that's what we're saying, any structure is a building.
You know, if you would just get on the commission, this would be so much easier.
Yeah,
Is there?
and we have, yes,
Maybe we could change chattel to
and then you can
livestock.
go to the regional planning, because we still have an opening for that.
What the hell's going on with the regs
It
here?
probably should be changed to livestock because that's how we have it defined later for zoning
Yeah.
permits is livestock and poultry.
Everybody will understand.
Structure.
Can I pass it?
Well, so now we're counting chicken coops.
Structure and constructed.
Yeah, so.
Aha.
Yeah, that wasn't, sorry, it was sarcastic, but it was, it's like, that,
Oh, we do, look at that.
we do restrict the size.
Beneath the
But we don't-
Yeah.
we're Counting that as overall.
Those bodies are really starting to add up, huh?
Over water.
Okay. So-
Except driveways, sidewalks, parking areas, curbing and fences.
Which is
We
why,
have to take that beneath the ground out.
well, this is why,
What about beneath the water? Leave
Yeah.
that.
but that's, I mean, that's saying it's a structure, that's understandable. There are structures, an underground oil tank is a structure, but it's not floor area. Is it,
Is a patio structure.
right?
Yeah, but
Patio structure, docks. is
why do
structure.
we care about beneath the ground? This is what I fought in Clinton. Why?
Underground
do we
oil
care?
tank.
Yeah, but why? That's not a structure. That gets taken care of by the health, the building and the fire marshal, right? So why do we care what's beneath the ground? We can't see it.
We'll
We're
pick on, we'll
zoning.
pick on Tim's wife. When she puts it over the building, over the property line, right? You just put a structure on the neighbor's property. That's fine.
You can't put underground tanks closer than 10 feet to the property line. That's governed by building, health and fire.
What about, what else goes on?
Propane tanks, you can't,
Yeah.
it all has to have setbacks by other
Supposed
codes.
to, right?
Don't ask Pratt.
No, there's, I had a 1,000-gallon pig put in. It's a whole,
We'll get into that.
it's a
I'll
whole
tell you
thing.
about that later. I'm trying to think what else goes under the ground. Footing,
Very
footing
important.
drain.
Yeah,
I can cross the property line with a footing drain.
but why do, in what way? I mean, if it's a civil matter because some neighbor put it and shouldn't have, that's a civil matter. That's not, you can't trespass.
Hey, I like eliminating regs. I'm fine with that.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying, this was our fight because
I
we
know.
were having to send this stuff to zoning, and why zoning would care about an underground propane tank, I don't know.
Hey, I'm on board with this. So now we're looking at structure too. We gotta add that to the list.
Yeah, and what if you want a bunker? You should have a bunker and it shouldn't matter
I think
because you
everybody should
can't
have
see it.
bunker.
Oh, no, oh, no.
Oh, see, there you go. That's floor area.
It's below the ground, we don't care. You
Well,
can't see it
well-
over.
Okay. All right, we're going off the deep end here. Let's move on.
I need to know who has a bunker, so I know where to go in case of.
So what's like, so it says structure footprint, let's see what footprint says.
Building structure.
I don't-
Please, sir.
You're just killing me with the scrolling here.
Better you than me, brother. Oh,
Yeah.
too far. I gotta go all the way around.
Footprint, there it is. Yeah.
Total or surface of a building measured.
Cover areas. including canopies.
This is what kills me.
So that's everything.
An uncovered porch. Okay.
Steps and terraces, and why a canopy? What kind of a canopy?
So,
Like over your porch.
so
Or
it's,
portico over for your cars.
so you don't have to scroll back. So say a building is a structure, a
Gazebo.
structure's footprint is everything.
Well, thankfully, in July, we'll be going through our regulations so we can deal with all this.
Right. But I'm saying, but this is different. So footprint, this is important because this is separate from
Yes.
floor plan or floor,
Yeah.
floor area.
Yes.
Floor, because the footprint is not necessarily floor area.
Some people interpret gateway as footprint.
Yes, that's why I asked for clarification.
All right. so that's what we
Doesn't
wanna know.
help your wife, but
Well, that's what we want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. All right, let's go. Let's move on. ZEO, what you got? I like this.
The Westbrook property is for sale and I've been inundated with calls and emails about it.
This Saturday, we'll finish the survey this Saturday.
I mean, I've been very busy, but it's so busy that my brain is just an emptiness right now. But no, just a lot of permits and a few parcels for sale, which means, I get a bunch of calls and emails.
Okay. One question for you, and make it quick, is, did Ken get back to you for the questions you asked? Because if I don't ask you now, I'll forget again. Okay.
No. It
Okay,
might be good
great.
if you, I think I CC'd you on it. It might be good
You
if
did.
you nudged.
Will do. All right, I'm gonna jump to POCD. We're on for June for public hearing in July, if we continue it.
And yeah,
Well, we'll need
so-
to continue it because it can't be adopted until July.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty good there. Attorney, hopefully nothing. Awesome.
No, except for
Chairman?
waiting for the attorney to.
Oh,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Oh,
All right, I should have brought that up then. Chairman, I have one question for you guys. I'm just trying to speed through this. The Board of Selectmen would like to talk about the ordinances on the 20th at a special meeting between us. Do you all want to go, or you just want to throw me under the bus so I have to go?
well, that's what you're here
20th
for.
of May?
Yeah,
or-
May.
Is that,
Next week.
That's like.
Yeah.
no,
next
no,
week.
I have two kids, so
I'm just coming back from
Well,
I have a calendar, man.
What do you need?
Yeah, so the 20th is the Board of Selectmen would like to discuss all the ordinances we have put forward.
Jeez, that's my golf.
They make it real cheap.
No, I'm good. 20, I can be there.
Okay, how about this? I'll go, and if you guys can make it, fantastic, because it's always nice to have backup, because I can't remember everything.
What time is that meeting?
I'll go.
Is that
It's a Board of Selectmen meeting, so it's, I actually think it's 6:30.
6:30, Board of Selectmen, 6:30.
Yeah, see,
If I
I'll be there.
can.
Okay.
Oh, what, Tim's
You said
Yeah,
on the
that's
20th?
20,
20th, 6:30. Got it.
Tuesday.
special,
All right.
very special. Okay, that's it from chairman. Well, that's not true. I'm trying to find some training for us for for CAM, for coastal area management, because our regulations are terrible in that aspect, and if we're gonna touch them, we should know our requirements for coastal area management along the Connecticut River. So anyway, I'm trying to find some training for that. On the budget, they accepted our budget at the Board of Finance meeting. Looks like they knocked $5,000 out of our budget over what we requested, but that's okay. I think we can kind of spread that around and not really lose anything. But that hasn't passed yet either, so make sure you go out and vote on whatever day that is, next week, next month, next week, right?
Week after next?
The 27th or something.
Yeah,
I saw a
27th,
sign.
I think,
Town
yeah.
meeting on Monday.
Yep.
The week after.
Okay, so the following Monday.
Yep.
It's after Memorial.
Okay,
I'm actually in town, so.
So
you gonna vote yay?
If you're going to plan a zoning budget, that's it.
All right, that's what I thought.
Right.
We gotta hammer them. Rivercog Housing Committee. Daniel?
oh, yeah, so, in fact, for the regional planning committee and Rivercog, we're discussing the same thing, the fair share, allocation came out. So fair share was they tried to put through as a bill, but instead they did put the study through, although it's looking like they will add this to a bill that has yet to go through, and there could be penalties if we don't adopt it. The main thing that they did was, even though we have a falling population, they gave us a +1 population, which of course skews the numbers for allocation. So we actually have the smallest allocation, but it is still 200 houses or units, I'm sorry, on top of what we have. Now, there is, if you look through it, there's approach 1, approach 2, and there's discussion, particularly with some of the larger towns of, because they look at households, and a household is different. That you only have 2 households living in a house, right? So that's different. So that messes with the calculations. For our small town, it's just a matter of like 4 units more or 5 minutes. So it really just getting into the weeds. So there's a really, really good chance that these allocations will be adopted. And there's a really good chance that there will be some requirements to do that. And the number's 200. So that's like, ironically, that's the same percentage because we only have 2,000 units in town. That's the same as what our 380G was.
Yes.
So it isn't like it's an up or down. It's just saying, and all those have to be affordable too.
The 2,000 are affordable. Is that what that is?
No, 200.
Yeah, but what was the 2,000 that you said?
It's how many units are in Deep River now. It's a little few more than that, but that's how many,
How many affordable units or how?
no, how many units total? No, we're a small town, man.
Yeah.
We're a little, that's it. That's why it's kind of crazy that we only have 2,000 units. Actually, I think it's like 2,100.
You mean like anything, houses, apartments?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
it's, it could be, a HUD mortgage, there's quite a few.
Yeah, your house, my house, the apartments, yeah.
So that's a lot, 200 a lot for,
Yes, that's why I said it at the meeting. It's a huge number for us. But that's where we're at. They haven't put legislation through yet. And I know that DOH, from when I spoke with them, is they aren't really taking this seriously because there's no way without new legislation for any of this to be enacted. And, for better or for worse, it's ironically the same number as what our obligation from the last legislation was already, and that's in our POCD, and we have a rated J plan, so I forget my numbers right. So that's all I have to say with that. Any questions about, any more questions?
dude, just get, so 200 is affordable, the 2,000 is total. But don't they also take a look at what affordable housing already exists in town? And isn't that?
No, they're saying we need that in addition, but that's my thing with it is we have a shrinking population, and they're saying, they're trying to tell us that we have a growing population.
Yeah.
I wish we had that
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. No, I understand that.
We don't have that, that's why our schools are costing us so much, right? Because anyways.
How did they determine that what affordable housing we already had? I mean, how do we know that's accurate?
It doesn't, the way that they looked at this is it's all based on future need, right? So they calculate, and you can go to their website. You can Google it, it's the fair share. Basically, they had done this in Oregon and we studied what they had done in Oregon in the River Cottonwoods. We had workshops. And then the same consultants, the reason why I'm sorry, the same consultants then came and did it for Connecticut. And even the consultants said that, in Oregon, they took out like the household thing because it is a practical application. And then Connecticut said, well, we're not gonna have you talk to anybody in presentation, just be quiet. And so it's kind of sad, because when you look at it, it looks like a good thing across the state until you realize that numbers are skewed because they aren't accurate to census and current population growth. I mean, not just, so that's for all three of the tri-towns. We're going negative in size. So there are other areas that are growing, and that's part of what their argument was before, is like, well, this becomes an allocated aggregate of, Middletown and Hartford are growing, so we're gonna spread it across the state. But at the same time, if we said yes, and they gave us the money, where are we gonna put 200 units anywhere in our little town of Deep River?
We're doing a study for that.
Yeah, we're trying. We're trying, but I'm just saying, but there's a lot. The last thing I have is, since Tony had to resign from this position at regional planning, I still need an appointee, and that's a reason for me to go to the selectmen's meeting, because this committee's appointing.
Mhm.
And the selectmen need to appoint somebody.
Yep.
But I want that in the minutes. Selectmen need to appoint somebody for that, because if I miss a meeting, then, then we have no representation to hear all the great stuff that happens there.
My favorite part is that when they talk about all the municipal stuff at the end, where they go through all the stuff, all the bills and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of miss.
That's the only part I really like,
Yeah.
hearing about a bike path that's
Yeah.
going up in Hartford
Yeah.
or Middletown and spending an hour on that.
Yeah.
It's a snooze fest,
Yeah.
honestly, but we need representation, and it can't just. be-
He at least didn't say that in a live meeting with them.
Yeah.
Like somebody else. All right, let's get out of here. Don't mean to cut you short. Any questions?
No, I
uh-oh.
have to tell Zoe something. You wanted used books? I have a couple of used books. I'll just plop them in the mailbox.
Okay,
So
thank you.
Also, I got that Gateway book from her. I'm gonna read through it, and then I will also put that in the box.
Okay, and I will not tear
Don't
that
tear,
one up.
yeah, don't tear that one up.
No.
What do you
I
need
won't.
used book? What kind of used books you need?
Any books? Any books?
I do I facilitate some workshops doing like deconstructed book art and like erasure poetry. So looking for books that are okay to deconstruct.
Got it.
I love me some books, so not all
Oh,
of them,
yeah,
but
but that's
there
what
are
I'm telling you,
some that-
zoning. A house is a place to hold all your books.
That's right.
That's what I think.
All right,
Libraries.
payment of bills. Any bills? Here none. I like that. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a good night.
30.
You get on a plane, I'm going to the bar.
And
Have a good night.
you stay for a minute.